Oh, goody.
Alright, what's going on everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Mercenaries video. So in this one, we're doing another tier list. Now normally for the tier list videos, I do like to do all of the total Mercenaries, get kind of a feel for where everyone is in the overall meta, but as things are still kind of new and developing, I thought it's kind of hard to rank a lot of the old Mercenaries since we haven't kind of seen a lot of new combinations. Like we've seen some, but there's still a lot of new ones that haven't been tested. People are still leveling up the characters. A lot of experimentation going on in the meta right now. So I thought what I would do instead is we're going to do a tier list of just the new Mercenaries and kind of where it looks like they are at in relation to each other in terms of, you know, how good are they, how playable are they, all that stuff for PvP. So that's what we're going to be doing today. So if you enjoy this type of content, remember to like and subscribe, and let's dive right on into the tier list. So I've got them sorted here by role. So we're going to start off with the casters, then go through the fighters and the protectors. Now overall, I'm really happy with this drop. I've seen almost every character on this list, I think, see play in PvP. I think the only one I haven't seen too much yet is Korak, but I think there's still potential for him. But going in order here, we're going to start off with Arana. So Arana is really cool. She is one of the characters that actually has a lot of self-bounce abilities that I really like. And even though I haven't seen her a ton on ladder, I do think there's a lot of potential for her. And she can do some very interesting stuff with bouncing herself and getting some additional spell school damage and all that. I think just in general, the self-bounce effect is pretty strong. So I'm going to be putting her up in the B tier. Definitely very playable Merc, but I'm not sure if she has shown herself in any really super top tier stuff that I've seen yet, but she seems all around pretty solid. Next up, we have Khadgar. I don't think this is going to surprise anyone. Khadgar is going all the way to S here. Khadgar is easily one of the best new mercenaries. He's very versatile, and he just works in a wide variety of comps, from some arcane stuff I've seen with Medivh, the token summons comp, Frost. He's really good in a lot of different builds. And I think for that reason, compared to all the other mercenaries here, he's definitely an easy slot into the S tier, because he's just very versatile, very powerful, and another one of those mercenaries that you really can't leave unchecked, because usually it only takes 2 turns, then he transforms, and then things start to get out of control. So he's definitely one you have to target, and he just slides into a lot of different teams very well. Another character that also kind of accomplishes this is Nemzi. I'm putting Nemzi up here in the S tier as well, because I think Nemzi has seen the most play out of every character I've seen so far, maybe tied with 1 or 2 others here like Khadgar, but Nemzi has been seeing a ton of play, and again, much like Khadgar, very versatile character. It's not just one build she's seeing play in, though I think the token builds are the most popular one. I have seen her in other things, some people experimenting with her in nature, and just using her as a generally good unit for protection with the boggy, and then she does pretty decent damage too. So overall, just a very well-rounded character, and really kind of showing how strong it is that giving a Merc a battle cry without any kind of item requirement or anything is a very, very strong effect. Then we have Niru Fireblade. So I've actually seen some very cool stuff with Niru, but he definitely is comp dependent. It feels like he's only kind of working in demons. And I think for now, I'm going to be putting him down in the C tier. I don't think he's like D tier unplayable. I think he is playable in the right comp, and sometimes his imps are actually really annoying to deal with. But I haven't seen a version with him yet that seems like as good against like a lot of different comps around right now. But sometimes he can target stuff, and if the opponent doesn't have AoE, those imps can actually get really out of control, and then pairing them up with the other demons can deal some pretty crazy damage with like Jaraxxus or Gul'dan. So like the design, cool character, but only kind of seeing some fringe play and mostly demon focused builds. Next up, we have Korak. So I think I'm kind of torn here whether C or D. I think the character actually has potential, but he is pretty much the only character here I have not seen anyone try. I think Crimson Panda uploaded a video with him, so I didn't get a chance to watch that, but I remember he mentioned it and he seemed alright. There could be something with the troll builds, or maybe you can do some shenanigans against your opponent if they're all in on the summons, like with Nemzi. But until we see some more experimentation, and if he can kind of be a core piece of a powerful comp, I think right now I'm putting him down in the D tier, because he is literally just the only character I have not seen at all in PvP yet. So maybe we'll have to try him out later to try and figure out where he kind of fits best, but for now, putting him down in the D tier. Then Archimund. So I really like this character. I think I'm going to be putting him up here in the B tier. I think he is just a very good, well-rounded character. I think he gives a lot of good support to demons. I really like that he speeds up your other fell abilities, has some decent AoE, just very good synergy overall, and he can also stack the fell damage. So just another one of these mercs with 3 really good versatile abilities, and demons fell in general really needed that kind of support, and it feels like they got it here. So remains to be seen if they end up being a high tier comp or not. I know people are experimenting with it right now, but I think if they do end up being good, Archimund's gonna have a pretty big reason behind that. Next up here, we have Bwansamdi, another really good mercenary, and I'm popping him up here in the S tier with Khadgar and Nemzi. Bwansamdi's probably tied. I think these are the 3 most played mercenaries out of the whole new batch. He is just really good, because not only does he enable some silly shenanigans with his bounce, which is very powerful with things like Nemzi and some other characters, but you don't even have to bounce with him for him to be good. He's just a super huge, high damage ranged fighter. You can also kind of get the quick snipe with his 3rd ability to snipe something down at low HP, or if he's at low HP, you can snipe something, and then if he dies, you basically are taking something out with him. The Death Rattle, bringing back another friendly merc, can sometimes be very useful. He's just a very good, well-rounded character, and that is with one of his abilities kind of being bugged right now. So his Deal of Time does not properly change the speeds on abilities that are adjusted in speed. So things that are sped up by, let's say, Valera, stuff like that, or even Vol'jin's passive. It doesn't correctly slow the speeds. It does it off of their original speed. So if he's been seeing this much play and been this good before fixing that bug, I think he's going to be even better once that gets fixed. So by far, I think the best fighter of the drop. Just very versatile, and just kind of hard to deal with sometimes. He could deal crazy amount of damage even if you're not using him for kind of combo-y shenanigans with the bounces. Then we have Garona. So this is another one I haven't seen being played a whole lot, but I do think there's a lot of potential for her, because like Arana, she is a character that can self-bounce and get kind of out of control. So I think we're going to put her in the B tier with Arana. I think the bounce effect is really good, and it has a potential to even be A tier once someone figures out the right build with it. But I haven't done a ton of experimenting with her yet, and I haven't run into a whole lot of her yet on ladder. So not really too sure, but I know when we did the recent Money Match series, this character is actually a pretty big problem, and just the versatility of being able to kind of grow and swap out and whatnot and enable favored switch-ins is a very powerful mechanic, and one I think we're going to see quite a bit more of in Mercenaries as time goes on. Then Ysera. Ysera is one that really surprised me, and we're going to put her up here in the A tier. Now, Ysera, we kind of, I think most of us misevaluated leading up to launch, because there was some information that we did not know. And 2 of those things were Ysera cannot bounce an enemy merc, so that makes her a little bit worse. However, what she can do is her heal, the option to speed up a friendly merc, it's not just a friendly, it's the whole team. And that is significantly better than what it initially said in the patch notes. So it's actually misworded in game until you click the choose one option, and then you see the proper wording. So I think we kind of evaluated this character based off of what we saw, and then now we got what it is, and it's actually a lot better. And I find that her initial skill 1 is a decent ability, but most of the time I'm seeing Ysera used as a bench merc that kind of cycles between her skill 2 and her skill 3, dealing the AoE, which is quite a lot of AoE damage. And then on top of it, you can just use her to speed up things, most notably slower things like Bane's AoE gets it from 10 speed to 5 speed. That's a pretty significant speed up, gets some healing on top of it. And sometimes it's even nice just bouncing her or bouncing one of your other mercenaries to the bench and healing. Good way to kind of protect the character for that turn and can give you some switch initiative. So Ysera has been very impressive to me, better than I thought she would be, and I think she definitely deserves the spot up there in the A tier. Then we have Tess. Tess is one I've had a lot of fun experimenting with, and I think for now at least I can confidently say she's kind of a B tier character. In the right build, she can feel very good, and I really do think there could be something to just using her to steal your opponent's abilities. I found actually using her with Blink Fox has been pretty decent. You can also use her for some cool scouting, which I really like, just scouting from the bench, see what the opponent is going to have and can kind of plan around that a bit. And I really, really love her last ability when it transforms. It can be very, very powerful just using abilities that have been stolen and whatnot. It's just really, really good. And even though you usually don't get it online till a little bit later, her big stats can kind of help her get to that point, especially if you're not leading with her right away. So I definitely think this is a character that, even though it's a bit more RNG heavy, kind of like Blink Fox, there definitely could be a place for her in the meta. Seems like a very solid all-around character. And another character that I think kind of fits that description is Gen. I've actually really enjoyed using Tess and Gen together. One thing I really like about Gen is you can time his switches in a way that really benefits you if you're careful about it. Also, his passive healing your characters for them using an even speed ability has been really, really good in my experience. And he can actually scale up pretty high. I have some gameplay with Tess and Gen, and they seem to work really great together, which is kind of a fun lore win. And they just get kind of big and out of control if you don't have a way to kind of burst them down quickly. So another character that I really like, and much like Tess with one of her items that lets her swap to roll advantage, I think the fact that you can change this between a red and a green is a very powerful effect, and if you use it correctly, it can be a huge benefit. So definitely expect to see some more of him. I think he's deserving of the B tier spot. Then next up, we have Prince Malcazar. So Malcazar is a huge reason why we are going to see significantly less shadow on ladder. The fact that he has this battle cry that can just basically totally neuter a shadow opener from their Yasharaj not being able to gain a huge amount of attack is going to drastically impact the meta, and we're already kind of seeing the results of this. Shadow definitely not nearly as prevalent as it once was. This also does help against the old gods, since they are primarily casters and protectors as well. So in that version of the build, he's also good against them. Just very good character in general, very decent kit. His items, it depends, what the meta is looking like, but I think there is a lot of merit in the reducing attack, as well as the one that changes a random enemy into a protector. I think that's a very, very powerful effect, especially in the right comp. So I definitely think he is one of those characters who, even though he is a demon, and even though he kind of is focused on Fel and whatnot, I think you're going to see him in a larger variety of comps, kind of like Ysera, where even though she's a dragon and has dragon synergies, a lot of the stuff I've seen her in hasn't even been super dragon focused, even though she works in there. And I think the same is kind of true of Prince Malcazar, and you'll probably see him in some demon comps, but I expect to see him just in a lot of more general comps, because he is a very good kind of almost anti-aggressive tool in that respect. Next up is Medivh. So Medivh, second to last character here. I'm kind of torn whether to put Medivh in the S or the A. I think I'm going to put him in the A, mainly because I think he serves a similar role as Malcazar does, where his individual skills aren't super insane. They're all like good, they're not bad, but he's not dealing like a crazy amount of damage. There is some cool combo potential, especially with slower arcane units like Blink Fox, so cool stuff there. And I do think sometimes the taunt and the extra stats is pretty nice. But the big reason I think Medivh is going to see a lot of play is because of his summon that basically makes it so it counters the first ability each turn, and the fact that the summon can counter its own counter, so you can even use it in being fast, which is really, really cool. But this is really, really good at helping to counter a lot of the faster comps that we have traditionally seen, like Trigor, Valera, Vol'jin. Just very, very good at kind of slowing them down. And you can buy it back with things like Bonsomdi and other balance effects, and overall just a very solid character. On top of that, we have seen some caster comps that use Medivh on the bench to just give a huge amount of stat buffs across all their casters, so that's also a very powerful ability. And overall, I think his regular skills are just kind of generically good. Nothing super outstanding, but nothing super bad either. Even his summon can actually be pretty good sometimes, depending on what you're going up against. So I think he definitely deserves at least the A tier spot, and kind of bordering on the line between A and S tier. And that brings us to our last character here, Murloc Holmes. So this is a character I really like the design of. I do think he can find a home in Murlocs. However, when I was testing Murlocs, Shadow was still very prevalent on the ladder. And because of that, Murlocs had a really, really hard time. Maybe now Shadow isn't quite as prevalent as it once was, but I haven't seen a whole lot of Murloc builds yet. So I think with my limited amount of testing, for now, I'm going to put him in C tier, though I do think it's possible when the meta develops a little bit more, somebody could find a Murloc comp that can be good against a few specific other comps, in which case I think Murloc Holmes will probably see play in that, but it really depends what the greater context of the meta is looking like, and it's definitely a very competitive spot for that third Murloc role. Now we have things like Finley and Old Merc that are both very, very good together, and he obviously synergizes well with both of those, but then you have two reds out, and that's a little dangerous given the fact that we are seeing a ton of blues so far right now, as we can see by Khadgar and Nemzi being pretty high up there. So I think for now I'm putting him in kind of the same spot as Niru, because I think he's a fine character. I think he'll see play, but I think his effectiveness is going to be more limited to kind of a linear build in Murlocs. I hope Murlocs are good. I'm actually doing a Murloc stream this weekend. I guess this will be going up on Monday, so by the time you're seeing this, the Murloc stream will have happened, and you can probably expect some games going up on YouTube soon, showing off some stuff with Mr. Holmes here, because I do think he's a really cool character. Might just take a little bit of time and the meta developing before we see a build that kind of uses him to his full effect. So for now, C tier, but I definitely think he has potential to rise up, and I mean, maybe in the right comp be B tier, be even A tier, depending on how things shake out. But so overall, going back through it, S tier we have Khadgar, Nemzi, and Bonsomdi. A tier we have Ysera, Prince Malcazar, Medivh. B tier we have Arana, Archimund, Garona, Tess, and Gen. Then C tier we have Niru, Fireblade, and Murloc Holmes. And then D tier, we have Korak. So overall, I'm really happy with this Mercs drop, and I really am just enjoying these new characters a lot. Excited to do a bunch more streams this upcoming week and get some more PvP gameplay out there. But that is going to wrap it up for this video. Let me know what you think of these new mercenaries in the comments below. And if you enjoyed it, remember to like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.